Dave and I were talking earlier, Andy, and maybe you've seen, because of the AUVs, further out than we've seen with the ROVs, but it's not this litter. I expected to see tens of thousands of things all over the seafloor. You know, cups, glasses, bottles, lights. Do you see that? I mean,
there seems to be, you know, these bigger chunks in these areas, but in this field here, there is a lot of small scattered stuff in it, and it's pretty continuous.
And that's consistent, I think, with what we've seen in terms of the prevailing current at the bottom, although it's moved around more than I think any of us expected over the last week and a half. But there's been a north-south trend to the current, so those lighter things would probably be suspended in the water column longer and carried a little further south.
The stuff with the currents, to me, these currents are as important as are important to things like climate change, because the Gulf Stream we can see heading north, carrying heat up, but what we don't have a good handle on is cold water return from the Arctic, and sitting here, this has got to be a lot of that cold water coming down from the north, working its way south. And the fact that whether you're up at the bow or at the stern, and I've heard many people point out how different it is, and you talked about that, Dave.
Sediment pattern?
Yeah, the patterns are totally different from one area to the next, from one day to the next. And the sediment patterns, exactly right. You see these waves, the small scale ripples, the large scale ripples, the dune scale ripples. You know, there's something going on here. The setting that Titanic is sitting in is a lot more dynamic than we ever thought it was. That's pretty cool. So scattering the debris is one thing. Maybe covering the debris eventually with some of the sediment might be happening. The fact that the bow and the stern are constantly buffeted by these currents, you know, that may play a role too.
I think it's interesting to me how Titanic may have opened up a door into a whole series of other research opportunities out here. And as you said, that may lead to our understanding of climate change, the mechanics of the transport systems within the oceans. It's been very interesting.